Well, guys, January is cold, barren, and not exactly a really warm time for the game industry. Usually, January, they back off on a lot of new releases, and we see that with the sales here, too. That said, GOG does have some really great games worth talking about. Capcom still has some of their games on sale from last week, including Pheonix Wright Trilogy, which is a good visual novel mystery. Basically, you take a role of a rookie attorney and you're trying to solve these crimes. And it has some humorous puzzles and some really good courtroom drama. Now, what I do want to stress is that this is actually meant to be a very deep, critical satire of the Japanese court system. In a lot of Japan and Asian countries, when you go to court, it's not necessarily whether you're guilty or innocent, but what your punishment's going to be. As the Japanese court system, your chance of being convicted is well over 99%. And this game is kind of trying to draw barbs that this isn't necessarily a good thing, as the defense attorney here can get whipped and even get hot coffee thrown at him. So you have to understand where that's coming from. And the localization, trying to just keep the story simple, has it done in America, and it has nothing to do with our court system. So it's worth researching on where the creator's coming from when he made this game. Then we have a Wing Commander series on GOG. They're $1.49 pop. Usually they're $5 each. And this will take you back to the early 90s where, a lot of these big corporations today that we kind of see as soulless and really abusing their employees and customer base and just basically trying to nickel and dime us at every opportunity. Back in the 90s, they were actually small up-and-comers mostly, and they actually created some really unique games. And the Wing Commander series is one of those games. The first one is especially the most interesting when it comes to the story because it kind of has this different route depending on how well you do. You can still survive your missions, but if you let bad guys get away or if you have to retreat, then the story is going to reflect that. And whether you get a bad or good ending depends on just how much Kilrathi you blow up and move your guys forward in their little war against you. And then later ones would do things like F&V movies, which were kind of the style in the mid-90s, but these are actually pretty decent. You get people like Mark Hamill coming in, so they're worth $1.49 for what GOG is asking for. Then we get Star Trek 25th Anniversary and Judgment Rights. They're on sale for $5.99 a piece. Normal price is $10. Now, this is really a blast from my past. I remember picking these up when I had a Windows 98 computer, and it was still using good old Microsoft Disk operating system in the background, or DOS in the background. And these are some really good point-and-click adventures that mimic episodes of Star Trek, including the 25th anniversary, letting you kill your red shirt. I do hope to do a full review of these games one of these days, and I do mean one of these days because it's not going to be anytime soon. But if I did have to choose which one to get, if you could only get one, get Judgment Right, as its puzzles are a bit more fair and you're also a lot less likely to die. I will be honest, I never beat the 25th anniversary PC version. I did get to the last level and you have to fight against a clone of the Enterprise, and 17-year-old me got his ass kicked with its battle and never really got back into it. Then we have SNK Anniversary Sale. $5.99, and this is a classic game series that isn't necessarily going to give you the best games, I'll be honest with you, but it is interesting. You get a hodgepodge of arcade games, NES games, and it even lets you pick one or the other if there was an NES port. And games like POW are definitely worth checking out. There's like Psychic Warrior. This is interesting. I wouldn't have minded an SNK collection from the 90s. Maybe I need to look up Neo Geo because that's probably what they're on. But for these arcade games, they're not bad. It's worth $5.99 to check them out. Then we're going to go into the Tomb Raider series, which are 97 cents a piece. Usually they're $6.99 each. This was kind of Crystal Dynamics' original take on Lara Croft, and if I have to choose one, I would go with Underworld, even though it's a third game of the trilogy. It kind of had the best with really good puzzles, but at the same time, a lot of really great action sequences. Plus, when you unlock Mjolnir, it's a lot of fun waving that around. The other two games, Anniversary is decent, but it's a bit too much puzzle focused, and I really felt worn out by the end of it. And Legends is a bit too much of 180 degrees compared to Anniversary, which is nothing but an action game, and it felt like it needed more substance. But all three are definitely worth checking out for less than $1. Finally, we get Contra Anniversary for $3.99, and this is a great collection. It contains my favorite NES games ever made, with the original Contra and Super C. We also get the arcade versions of Contra Arcade and Super Contra. They're okay, but they don't stand up to the NES games. You also get a really great Game Boy Contra game, and Contra 3 for the Super Nintendo is an excellent game. You also get a crappy American Genesis Contra game. Now, the Japanese version, which is also included, although it's story-based and has a lot of Japanese text, is a lot better in the gameplay area, but the American version is what I call Bayou Billy to death, which is what Konami used to do back in the day because they were so scared that Americans would be able to beat their game on a rental, so they jacked up the difficulty, completely destroyed the balance of what the original Japanese version intended, and made the games freaking unplayable, in my opinion. The original Japanese version is here for you to try. Unfortunately, this game is story-based, and there's a lot of Japanese text. So, yeah, it's the hardcore is kind of just screwed up in this collection, unfortunately. With that said, something that's even more screwed up, don't get the Contra and Castlevania collection that's also available on GOG. If you look up Contra, you'll see this one, and it's like, oh, 10 cents more, and all I get is the NES versions. That's all I kind of want. Do not get this. This is not a new collection. This is actually a very old, 20-year-old collection, which worked okay for PCs running Windows 98 and Windows XP, but on modern-day consoles using modern-day controllers, the experience is not going to be good. I'll do another video on this one, but don't get this collection. Castlevania Anniversary is not available on GOG for whatever reason, but it's worth your time just to go over to Steam, wishlist it, and wait for a sale on Castlevania than to get this collection. Anyways, this is Tommy the Game Master. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week.
Captain Patterson reports the Republic is in position and ready to begin, Captain.
The Republic is arming weapons and raising shields. I suggest we do the same, Captain.
Arming weapons.
Raising shields.